Well, we've come to our last talking phonograph doll, and I'll tell you, I've learned something by making the other videos on the talking dolls, the earlier ones, the Edison, the Liore, the Baby Jumeau. I'm telling you, these dolls are frustrating. Oh my God, they're hard to get to the mechanism. They're hard to wind up and hold at the same time. They're hard to get to play, and then I don't know how a kid did it, but as you saw in the last one, they're got a little bit more sophisticated with this Averill motor. And as I said in the other video, if you haven't seen them, you should check them out, especially the Edison one. That's the best one. But as I said, this company came up with this motor and cylinders, and they worked so well that other companies use them in their dolls. And this is one of them, the Starr doll. This one was made, I believe these were made from 1928 to 1944. And production ceased in 1944, mostly because during World War II, there was a shortage of materials. And as a result, they moved their production, they stopped producing them. And as I said, it used the motor and some of the other dolls at the same time, which used these small celluloid cylinders. Before these were used, years earlier, they were using wax cylinders, which tended to break. There were a lot of companies, it seemed, that were trying to make dolls that worked and talked, even as far back as 1890. As I said, there's a video on the Edison doll, and they weren't successful. The Liore was slightly more successful, and they got better and better until they got to this mechanism, which I'll show you a close-up in a minute. But this one worked pretty well. I mean, it was in production for quite a long time. So let's come in close and take a look at this motor, and we'll give the doll a try, and you can hear a talking doll from that era. Here's a look at this motor, the Averill motor. This is the housing that's in the doll. There's the horn where the sound comes out. The cylinder goes in there. I can take that out. I just pull right out. And then you can see the mandrel. There's the reproducer down there. And there's a spring. It'll actually be easier to see using this. There's the mechanism that's inside that housing. There's the needle. It runs along that cylinder. It attaches there to the diaphragm. And then the sound comes out of there through the horn. To make this all work, to keep it up to speed, there's this interesting looking governor. So when the mandrel spins, it spins that governor. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, you can see it spin there. And then there's the spring that keeps this whole thing working. It's a torsion spring. And then there's a place for it to put the crank and wind it up. I think I can play this one. So let's give it a try. Okay, let's give this a try. I've wound it up till it stops. There's the horn, as you can see. There's the cylinder on it, and I'm going to turn that on. Oh, wound down. I guess the spring's getting a little old, but that sounded pretty incredible, right? You got to agree. So let's take a look at the doll. So here's the doll. You can see the face is really nice, well dressed. I don't know if these are the original clothes, but they probably are. Let's turn it over and take a look at the mechanism inside. This doll doesn't have any ID information on it. This is part of the stand, and that's new. That's a newer thing. But here's the mechanism for the doll. You can see the same size cylinder, same type of lever inside the doll, and the sound comes out, I guess it's front. So pretty interesting. Well, that wraps up my series on phonograph dolls, and I hope you found that interesting. We ended with the Starr doll, and we started with the Edison talking phonograph doll. So I hope you enjoyed it.